Newest update. Days of Our Lives preview. One final goodbye to Stefano DiMera. But is it? The preview opens with rain tapping softly against the tall windows of the DiMera estate. The camera glides through hallways lined with oil portraits, each one a reminder of a dynasty built on ambition, revenge, and an unshakable hunger for control. At the center of it all stands a single portrait, Stefano, eyes calculating, lips curved in the faintest knowing smile. A memorial table rests beneath it, adorned with white lilies and a framed photograph of the phoenix. The symbolism is impossible to ignore. In Salem, Stefano was never just a man. He was a force of nature, a storm, a resurrection waiting to happen. And yet, this preview promises something different. One final goodbye. The words hang heavy. E.J. DiMera stands alone in the mansion's grand living room, staring at the portrait. The preview lingers on his face, conflicted, proud, wounded. "Father," he says softly, "this ends tonight." For E.J., Stefano was both inspiration and burden, a towering presence casting a lifelong shadow. The preview hints that this memorial isn't merely about grief, it's about closure. E.J. appears determined to redefine the DiMera legacy, to sever the cycle of manipulation and vendetta that defined his father's reign. But can a DiMera ever truly escape Stefano's influence? A flashback montage plays, chess pieces moving across a board, a rose left on a doorstep, a mysterious phone call echoing through time. Stefano's voice, archival, chilling whispers, "I am always 10 moves ahead." E.J. closes his eyes. The preview cuts to black. If anyone refuses to believe this is truly the end, it's Kristen DiMera. In a candlelit chapel, Kristen kneels alone. Tears streak down her face, but her expression is not one of surrender. It's one of defiance. "They think you're gone," she whispers. "But you always come back. You promised." Kristen's devotion to Stefano has always bordered on reverence. To her, he wasn't just a father. He was destiny. The preview shows her clutching a small velvet box. Inside, a signet ring bearing the DiMera crest. She presses it to her lips. Then, a flicker, her phone buzzes. Unknown number. She hesitates. The message contains only 3 words. The phoenix rises. Kristen's breath catches. The screen fades before we see her response. Across Salem, reactions to Stefano's memorial ripple like shockwaves. At the Brady pub, Roman Brady stares into his coffee, jaw tight. "Goodbye to Stefano," he mutters. "I've heard that one before." For Roman and the Brady family, Stefano represented decades of torment. Kidnappings, mind games, psychological warfare that spanned generations. Nearby, Marlena Evans watches quietly, her expression unreadable. Marlena, more than anyone, carries scars from Stefano's obsession. The preview hints at a quiet moment where she stands alone in her office, holding an old photograph, not of Stefano, but of herself, during a time when she was held captive by his schemes. "He shaped so much of my life," she says in voiceover. But he will not define the rest of it. There's strength in her words, but also unease. Because Salem has learned one lesson over and over: closure is often an illusion. The most tantalizing part of the preview arrives in its final moments. E.J. descends into the mansion's hidden underground vault, a place long rumored to contain Stefano's most guarded secrets. Dust swirls in the dim light as he approaches a massive steel door, a keypad, a retinal scanner, and beneath it, etched into metal, Il Ritorno della Fenice, the return of the Phoenix. E.J. hesitates, then enters a code. The door creaks open. Inside, rows of monitors flicker to life. Files labeled with familiar Salem names scroll across screens. Photographs, audio recordings, surveillance footage spanning years. Stefano may be gone, but his watchful eye never stopped. Then, a final twist. At the center of the room sits a sealed envelope addressed simply, "To my children." The preview ends before E.J. opens it. Soap history tells us that in Salem, death is rarely permanent, especially when it comes to Stefano DiMera. Over the decades, he has died more times than most villains get monologues. Each return more elaborate than the last. The phoenix is a symbol of rebirth. So, why would this time be different? The preview's tone feels heavier, more reflective, less theatrical. It suggests not just a farewell to a character, but to an era. Stefano represented the golden age of grand soap villainy, elaborate revenge plots, exotic lairs, operatic rivalries. But Salem has changed. The next generation faces new threats, more subtle, more personal. Perhaps this goodbye isn't about resurrection. Perhaps it's about legacy. Speculation is already swirling among fans. What could Stefano's final letter contain? A confession? A warning? A master plan set in motion long ago? The preview hints at something seismic, something that will alter the DiMera family forever. If the letter reveals a hidden heir or a decades-old deception, Salem could be thrown into chaos once more. And if that mysterious text to Kristen is any indication, someone wants the town to believe the Phoenix still lives. But is it truly Stefano? Or someone using his legend as a weapon? The preview closes on the memorial gathering. Family and enemies alike fill the mansion. Tension hangs thick as incense smoke. EJ steps forward to speak. My father was many things, he begins. Visionary, tyrant, protector, monster. A murmur ripples through the crowd. But he was also a man who believed in survival above all else. As he finishes, the camera pans to the portrait. For a split second, barely noticeable, the lighting shifts. Stefano's eyes seem to gleam. Then darkness. The words appear on screen. One final goodbye. But in Salem, final is never final. This preview signals a pivotal turning point for Days of Our Lives. By revisiting Stefano's legacy, the show honors its past while setting the stage for its future. Will EJ rise as a reformed DiMera patriarch? Will Kristen unleash chaos in her father's name? Will a new villain emerge from the ashes? And most importantly, is Stefano truly gone? Fans have long debated whether Stefano should return again. Some argue his legend grows stronger in absence. Others crave one last dramatic resurrection. This preview walks a delicate line, offering closure while planting seeds of doubt. Perhaps the real twist isn't Stefano's return. Perhaps it's that his influence was never about physical presence. It was about power, control, fear. And those forces still shape Salem. As the rain stops and the sun rises over the DiMera mansion, one truth becomes clear. Goodbyes in Salem are never simple. And when it comes to Stefano DiMera, the phoenix may sleep, but it never truly dies.